What's up, folks? So, got to thinking after the last safety video I did, realized I forgot more than a couple things. So, this one's going to be a lot shorter, I promise. Mainly because I've got food coming, so yeah, it's heating up right now, so I'm hungry. But, so a couple other things I realized. Make sure you guys are investing in the proper PPE for what you need for your different jobs. Like for me, found out I've got asthma and I'm allergic to about 80% of the wood I work with. So invested in, this is called an air shield. It's surprisingly comfy. Granted, I look down too much as it is, so it still pulls my back like crazy. You can see I do use it, but it pulls in air in through those vents, puts it through there. This is all sawdust and stuff that it's pulled out of the air for me. Blows it down through the top, down through the face shield, and out the holes in the bottom. That way nothing, even if it's coming up, you still have positive air pressure. It stops about 99.9%, I believe is what it was rated for. Does a great job for me. Hasn't kept me feeling a lot better since I picked it up. You can also do your basic N95 respirators. These ones came from my grandfather's shop, so they're extra dusty. As long as they're covered in plastic, you should still be good to use them though. Don't use gloves as stuff like saws, lathes, especially sanders. I've made that mistake a few times. That one hurt. But, sometimes you will see me use gloves, but I only use them until I don't need them, especially on the lathe, because I get the ones with no fingertips. So they're very tight fitting because I do like my gloves tight. If you guys are working with resin, anything like that, make sure you are wearing nitrile or latex or something like that. I prefer nitrile because I know they won't break down. Other things with resin, make sure you're aware that that does off-gas fumes, and it can be nasty for you if you inhale, especially if you're doing a lot of them. Like if I have anything in my pressure pot, which is, it's a thing they use to paint with that pressurizes, pushes everything in. I modified mine. I cut the tubes because there's a tube that goes down. It sits like that far off the bottom. As it's pressing down, as soon as you hit or pull the trigger on the paint gun, it sucks the pressure down. I need something for a visual aid. All right. So your paint level will be here. Your air will push down, which pushes the paint down, which, say this is a tube in the bottom, shoots the paint up, out the gun, or through the line out the gun and onto whatever you're painting. You can also use it with, you can use them with stain, finish, if you got a lot. They actually are really nice. I've used them in the past for that particular application, but the one I modified for my resin, I just cut that tube off because I don't need it. And you just pressure it up. It pushes all the air bubbles out. I actually have an example here of what happens. This was before I had it. The dust should help it really. All these little voids in here, those are all air bubbles in the resin. It's also not a bad idea for something like that to throw it in a vacuum chamber first because it pulls all the air out. Then because you pull the air out, put it back in, and it pushes that resin down into everything. Pull it out again, it pulls any more air bubbles that it didn't get pressed out the first time. Push it back in, it'll push everything back into the actual thing. Hey, while I'm thinking about it, so did you guys know that you can support me for not spending a cent by hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing my videos? It doesn't cost you a cent. It does It helps the algorithm see me a whole lot more, and it's totally free for you. It just takes 3 clicks. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks. Bye. All that for a scam call. So anyway, as you pull the vacuum out, you push it in. You're pushing the resin in deeper with every time, which is exactly what you want to do. I also use things, it's a stabilizing resin. You pull the air bubbles out. It works the exact same way. The only catch is with the stabilizing resin, it has to get baked in the oven. That's why I don't do it very often unless I absolutely have to. But yeah, so when you're doing stuff like that, just make sure you got your gloves. For the love of God, have eye protection, and not just safety glasses, but full-on goggles, because I've had resin splash right under my eye, and just the fumes coming off of that, oh, my eye it took 3 days for it to quit burning, and I couldn't even get the resin off it. It took about a week just to get it off. A lot of people were making fun of me for having super glue on my face, and I didn't correct them because basically was. But yeah, just don't mess around with that stuff. Make sure you've got all the safety stuff you need before you start it. A lot of the powders you use with resin, like especially mica powders, it's a powdered metal. That's how you get the real pretty flowy stuff going through it, but at the same time, if you inhale it, you're inhaling metal shards. It's not good for your lungs. And just if you're not sure, stop, look it up, ask somebody that knows something or that knows more than you. My contact info is on here. If you guys ever have questions, I'm not opposed to going, even if it's just a text message, hey, saw you on YouTube, was getting ready to do this and not sure if gloves are safe or not. Worst thing I might ask is send me a picture of your setup and exactly what you're talking about, because sometimes I don't understand things. I'm no expert, but I can give you my 2 cents. But generally, if you're thinking if I should wear this, I'm just going to tell you, wear it. I've worked in I worked in a foundry for just shy of 2 years. And anytime anybody had a question, even if it wasn't necessarily required for the operation you're doing, if somebody asked me, should I do this? My response was always, if you're asking should you, the answer is yes. That's always been my guiding philosophy in life when it comes to safety. Whether it's, should my hand be this close? Probably not. Should I be using a push stick? Grab the push stick. And it's just, so, I don't hate to keep harping on it, but I don't like having to harp on safety constantly, because I almost feel like when I start doing these, I get into a broken record mindset. But there's a reason I've got away with one minor injury in my entire life of doing this, and that minor injury is why I started. While I was down, because I couldn't be in my shop for, I want to say it was like 6 months before I could really start doing anything, just because of how bad it hurts when I would whack that finger. And it's where it healed, it's right on the tip, so I'm hitting it all the time. It still hurts to this day, and that was, it'll be 3 years. No, 4 years. Was it 4 years? No, I did it in 20. It'll be 5 years coming up, I believe, in June. So, but yeah, I just, these things are not forgiving. The tools out here, they don't care. They love the taste of flesh, unfortunately. So, I'm not sure when I'm releasing some of these, because I'm getting a backlog made up. But when I was sanding a bunch of these, because I literally just finished them today, because I recorded the safety video, cut and sanded these out, and then I'm doing this now, I realized I never talked about having gloves near sanders and stuff, because I nearly caught my knuckle a couple times. And the fear with gloves with a sander, it grabs your knuckle. Say this is the sander, grabs your knuckle, pulls your hand down. Especially if you're right towards the bottom, where, like if you're sanding something square, if it catches and pulls in there, because there is a little bit of a gap, it'll break your finger, and it'll happen. So, I promise I'm not doing any more of these until I start seeing a bunch of injuries, or I've asked about certain different aspects of safety. Just once again, because I'm not sure that I reiterated this enough. If you're running a planer, mine's right there where that little green tray is. When you're feeding a board through there, don't be standing in front of it. If it's feeding through this way, you want to be standing right here. Because if anything happens, generally straight behind it is where it's going to get thrown, because that's the direction the blades are spinning. Because I tried putting a live edge cutting board through there, the first one I ever made, and only one at this point. It started shooting little bits of it out the back. I was nervous about it. I was standing there, and I was thankful I was, but at this point, I won't even be standing back there for cutting boards going through, because I've had something as minor as the dust extraction hose blow off, and then it's blowing sawdust and all kinds of stuff. When I'm running a dust collector, I'm not always wearing this, because between the motor and that thing blowing the sawdust out the back, plus the dust extractor pulling it through, because it's basically a giant vacuum cleaner designed to move sawdust, it don't put much out. But I usually keep that hood within arm's reach, because if it does, like if I was out here running that today, if it broke loose like that, it's, you got to be ready. It don't look the prettiest, but I can still see you perfectly through this. I can fix what I need, and I'm not getting a bunch of sawdust in my lungs, which is exactly what you want to worry about, because sawdust can be pretty nasty, and it's not the stuff you can see, it's the microscopic stuff in the air. Really, I should be in a mask all the time, but let's be honest, they get a little hot and miserable. I'm hoping this summer to be able to get a decent air filter out here that's big enough to do the whole shop, and then what it does is it pulls air up, and it pulls it up, and just if you put it in the middle, like there's the unit, different ones work different ways, but usually there's a HEPA filter in there, and it'll circulate air, and it'll go in one of two directions. Something like that really helps. Something you couple that with, I'm also a big fan of those RZ masks that Velcro up in the back. They're comfy, they're light, as long as you keep up with the filter changes, you almost can't even tell they're there. Wear something. I know in my videos, I'm not the greatest example of that, but when I'm doing full-on production work, I generally am wearing stuff when I'm not recording, just because I can't tell how muffled I am when I'm wearing something like that. And then if I'm talking quiet, like I've been known to do, you might not be able to hear me. Then I go and edit a video together thinking, oh, sweet, I got this one ready, and I can't hear nothing. So, plus it's hard to tell with the fan on in that thing. And I do normally wear hearing protection as well. Like I said before, make sure you got earplugs, or most of the earbuds you'll see me out here with are noise canceling. Like if I'm just talking to the camera, you can't really tell, but I have one in. And this is hooked up to my other phone, which is right here. So, depending on what I'm doing, because if I got music on, I tend to dance a little more. So I don't do that when I'm working real close with like a sander. I'll have a TV show that I don't care about watching, or an audiobook. And I also have the ability to shut off what I'm listening to if I see a problem, which is, know your limitations and stay within them. If you want to push it, but don't push too far. Everything you can do, everything in minor steps. If you want to learn to multitask two things that aren't going to matter if you mess them both up. And once you get good at that, then try something that's a little bit harder, then try something that's a little bit harder. Work your way up. But I'm pretty sure that's everything I have. I didn't write any notes down because, like I said, I was working and I got to go grab lunch. So I'm going to jump off of here. Hope you all have a safe time in the shop. Like I said, any other comments, questions, concerns, even if you disagree with me, throw it in the comments. I like a good safety argument because at the end of the day, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. If you don't like my way, but you like something else, do it. I might disagree with you, but at the end of the day, if you feel you're being safer than what I'm saying, do what you need to do. And I'll never call anyone stupid, dumb, anything like that. I might say the idea is dumb, but I'm not calling you dumb. Because, and I've had safety debates before, and my typical go-to answer in them, I don't understand how that would keep me safer. Tends to make people a little angry, but if I don't understand, I'm just going to tell you, I don't understand how that would work. It doesn't make sense to me. And if somebody can't, because I've had a safety manager, he could not explain a couple things that he wanted us to do. I never did them. He didn't like it much, but if you're making me do more work and making me feel that I'm more unsafe wearing this or doing what you're telling us to do, sorry. Explain this to me. I don't understand. And then he wouldn't want to talk to me. And when I got called into HR for it, I told them, I took in what I needed. I showed them exactly how he wanted it done. With an example, I showed him how we do it without it. And I don't understand how he thinks this is safer. To me, it's a bigger hazard, and he won't listen to me. Yeah. Nobody's going to care more about your safety than you. So keep that in mind as well whenever you're doing anything, because, it's nice going home with everything that you went to the shop with. Because trust me, an ER visit is never fun. So, yeah, now for real, that's everything I can think of. So I'm going to jump off of here. I'm going to go grab some food. I think I got 3 videos to edit up right now. No, 4. So I think I'm going to go start working on that for a bit. I want to sand some of these games up. And we're not doing that on camera though, because I'm doing all that with an orbital sander, and I'm not going to make sure you guys can see everything because it's a pain in the butt. So I'm going to go get lost in my craft. Hope you all have a good one in your shop, and cat in the hat, that be that.